I'm Chris Byers along with Jake Jones, Melinda Lee, and Tracy Smith. We are here with thousands of runners outside St. Vincent Healthcare in beautiful downtown Billings. It's a race that does more than track times, it helps heal hearts. The 38th annual Heart and Soul Run starts now on SWX. The race is underway, and we want to make one thing clear. There are actually 3 races going on today. Take a look at the maps here. All runners are starting here on 30th Street and 12th Avenue, and all will finish their runs at Dealer Park. Here's a map of our shortest trek. It's a 2-mile walk, and then we have the RRCA 5K, which takes runners down to 8th Avenue North. They'll move from there towards Pioneer Park before turning north on Virginia Lane and then cutting through MSU Billings. Our 10K runners won't turn off on 30th until they hit 7th Avenue North. They'll follow the same path from there on our 5K runners, but instead of cutting back to Virginia Lane, they'll continue west towards 17th Street West. As we move through the show, we'll be following the leader of the 10K race, but it's the RRCA 5K that has the most participants and the most on the line today. The race is the 5K Western Regional Championship. I'm now joined by Jake Jones, and Jake, this has really something for everyone here. There's the 2-mile walk, friends and family, but over the 38-year history of this race, we have seen some amazing times turned in and elite runners that participate in this event.
Yeah, elite runners for sure. Everyone loves a winner, and that means everyone loves John Riccardi and Tiana Vladik. Now, John Riccardi is your men's record holder, having a 15-minute, 44-second time in 2013. And on the women's side, it is Billings seniors Tiana Vladik, who finished with a time of 18 minutes and 11 seconds in last year's race. And what's amazing about Vladik's time is that she set it when she was only 15 years old. In our 10K race, Robert Peterson is the male record holder. He's competed in the 10K race in 32 minutes and 39 seconds. Peterson set that record in 2015. Then on the women's side, it's Sarah Graves who set the record with 38 minutes, 49 seconds. Graves is a Ballantine native who set that record in 2012 at the age of 35.
Here with Melinda Lee, and Melinda, over this 38-year history of the Heart and Soul Run, we talk about the event itself, but really it's all about raising much-needed funds.
And Byers, most people don't realize just how generous this running community is, but take a look at these numbers. On average, there are actually between 2,500 and 3,000 runners registered for the Heart and Soul race, and since 2010, those runners have helped raise more than $130,000, and that money is split between the YMCA and Billings TrailNet. Today we're going to run the same course implemented 6 years ago.
Thanks to Melinda for those numbers. Now joined by Tracy Smith. And Tracy, it's not just preparing for this race, but also how to prepare in regard to the weather. The runners are now out on the course. It's a little cool today. Now you bring a unique perspective to this because you've actually participated in this and you forecast and track the weather. So how does the weather impact what's happening today?
That's right, Chris. You know, today couldn't be more perfect for our runners out there. We're looking at temps anywhere between the mid-50s to mid-60s, so we shouldn't have to be worrying too much about heat exhaustion out there. Now, we are going to be seeing those winds picking up a little bit more from the northwest, so some of our runners are going to have to worry about a little headwind coming at them, which might slow them down, kind of give them an extra break on breathing. But overall, things should be perfect. We're not looking at any kind of rain, just beautiful sunny conditions.
This year's Heart and Soul event expected to draw in excess of 3,000 runners. They've had as many as 3,500, but it's an event that is 4 decades in the making, and as you might expect, it started with very humble beginnings back in 1979. It was an idea that hatched 38 years ago. St. Vincent Healthcare was looking for a way to raise money for their cardiac rehab program to assist families who did not have the ability to pay. As you might expect, it took some time for the event to gain traction.
Started very small. I can confess I don't think we really knew what we were doing in the beginning, so it was really good that it was small because there's so many logistics to it. But that was really the whole reason behind it. It was to raise funds so that we could pay for people to go through our cardiac rehab program.
How times have changed. Nearly 4 decades later, the annual Heart and Soul Run draws in excess of 3,000 participants, 2 years ago surpassing 3,500 runners. And the mission statement remains the same: raise money to support the Billings community.
So this year's event, the proceeds go to the YMCA for their general fund, I believe, and then the trail system. So it's all promoting health and wellness in our community.
That said, there is a competitive side to this race. The event draws some of the area's top runners, as times turned in the 5K and 10K can be used to meet qualifying standards for elite athletes that compete in similar races in Montana and beyond.
So there's qualifying standards for different races. In order to get into some races, you have to qualify or you have to run at a certain speed in order to be able to participate. And through the work of the people that run this race, now this is a qualifying race.
Bottom line, the Heart and Soul Run promotes family health, whether it's a 2-mile walk with family and friends or the competitive side of the 5K or 10K race. The Heart and Soul Run has become a Father's Day weekend celebration in downtown Billings. What growth in the 38 years of the Heart and Soul Run. Now, Melinda, we know that there's elite runners in this event each and every year, and just a couple of blocks over is the home of MSU Billings, and one of the legendary sports figures when it comes to track and field, longtime coach, and I know it's someone you had a chance to visit with.
Yeah, I met with this man that's behind building up a lot of the running programs in Montana and creating more opportunities for people of all ages to run. So here's how we honor Dave Kopic. Behind the motivation of hundreds of athletes,
I didn't really know if I wanted to run in college.
Beneath the sound of thousands of feet crossing the finish line.
All of us in the running community have been, influenced a lot by Dave.
One man inspires runners across Montana.
It was something I never really thought about getting paid for. It was just, I just did it because it was just a lot of fun.
Dave Kopic discovered a passion for running young and followed it all the way to competing for the University of Montana. In 1989, at the age of 33, Kopic helped create more opportunities for more runners to compete in Montana by helping start the cross-country program at then Eastern Montana College.
Was called upon to help start it, and the next year they said, yeah, we might as well stay, and then next thing I knew, I was head coach. It gave everyone an opportunity to maybe find another place they could compete in college athletics and in-state.
Later creating even more running opportunities by reintroducing a track and field program at MSUB in 2007.
Adding track and field, that was an accomplishment just to get that started, because we didn't know what was going to happen. And within a few years, we were starting to get some national qualifiers. And I think probably one of our best accomplishments was getting 8 individual qualifiers for the NCAA championships in the last 4 years.
Putting his heart and body into the program.
He's been running for however many years, and we go out there every day and put in a bunch of miles, and he's right there too.
Kopic's accomplishments and those of the runners he influenced perhaps runs the longest of all.
He helped us all develop a lifelong love of running. I don't know anyone who left his program feeling burnt out or wanting to give up on the sport. It was exactly the opposite. Sad that our time was over, and how could we keep that going?
While the local legacy now enters retirement, he'll still have hands, feet in Montana's running programs.
Pretty slow, but I'll be out there, giving it the old college try.
Coming up next, we'll hear from our sponsors and why the Heart and Soul is so special for them and why they get involved each and every year. But first, Jake, what do you have coming up?
Well, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to a guy who has been doing the 2-mile walk with his family for the past 8 years, and he's even added his own special flair to the Heart and Soul Run. I'll introduce you to that man coming up.
And Tracy Smith will check in on how these athletes are treated by the medical community and how they maintain healthy runners throughout the course of the race. The 38th Heart and Soul Run continues after this.
The Heart and Soul Run on SWX is brought to you by St. Vincent Healthcare, McPhinney's Convenience Stores, and Rustic Mountain Furnishings.
What inspires you to run the Heart and Soul Run?
Ooh, my parents definitely did this weekend. They talked me into it.
And what did they tell you?
They said it's a lot of fun. It'd be fun to go out and do it together. So we did it and it was fun.
Mommy?
It's just the community, and I feel, the competition. It's always fun to get out here and do this race. It's a really fun course, and it's just really good.
My wife, she died 3 weeks ago today.
but I tried to keep my health for her.
Plenty of energy and enthusiasm surrounding this event, and as you might expect, many inspirational stories. Jake Jones brings us the story of one man who's made the Heart and Soul a family affair.
Hey CB, the Heart and Soul Run will always be a family affair, but there are so many people that go into making this race so great that sometimes they can go unnamed. And even those little details that you may not notice at the start and end of the race, well, there's some pretty good stories behind them.
Most of the time, they're up and post the flags and they're gone long before the crowds are here.
It's easy to miss something as simple as a flag when you're preparing for a race, but it's not easy to forget the thoughts behind them.
I approached Dave Iron, our foundation director at the time, about posting flags along the starting route of the race, just to add a patriotism flair and promote that a little bit.
For years, Eric Ecker and Boy Scout Troop 399 have lined 50 flags down the starting line for the Heart and Soul Run. But that's not the only tradition for the Ecker family.
Yeah, the first Heart and Soul race, my wife was 9 months pregnant. I figured I better not sign her up for that one. So I volunteered, and after our youngest has been born, it's been a family affair ever since.
For the past 8 years, Eric and his family have participated in the Heart and Soul 2-mile walk.
We do the 2-mile walk just because it was easy to do with a young baby and pulling a stroller and everything else. And I think being together as a family is important. It's hugely important.
Races like the Heart and Soul couldn't happen without an army of volunteers, many of whom work for the race's chief sponsors. We caught up with them before today's race and asked them why they are so passionate about giving their time and resources to this event.
So Wells Fargo has been a major sponsor for the Heart and Soul Run for over 25 years now. And as part of our core values, Wells Fargo likes to participate and support the community in which we live and work in.
The Heart and Soul race has really been instrumental in helping Billings become a more active community by giving money to the trail system through Billings TrailNet and also through the YMCA.
We have fundraising throughout the year, and so having the Heart and Soul donations come into the Y is very important to us. We have a variety of scholarship programs that we offer. So all of our summer camps that are coming up here soon, our after-school programs, all of our different programs that we have, we help give back in the community by offering scholarships.
I just really want to thank the Heart and Soul Run Planning Committee and St. Vincent Healthcare, the Billings Gazette, and Wells Fargo, and all the wonderful sponsors of the Heart and Soul Run, and then the participants, which really make these.
Hi again, Tracy Smith here at the medical tent. Coming up, I'll give you a close-up look at the work being done to ensure all of our runners get the medical attention they need should an emergency happen on the race course. Melinda, what do you have in store?
Tracy, I'll introduce you to one woman who tells me she doesn't run fast, but she uses her whole heart and soul as she honors the man that inspired her to start. That and more reasons on why we run as Heart and Soul Run 2017 continues in just a moment.
The Heart and Soul Run on SWX is brought to you by St. Vincent Healthcare, McFinney's Convenience Stores, and Rustic Mountain Furnishings.
Why did you feel it was important to get involved and run today?
It supports a lot of causes, and this is something we've done for all the 10 years that we've been here, so we just felt we wanted to support it and get some exercise at the same time.
I did it because this is my first run I've ever done, and I thought it would be fun because it was my first.
St. Vincent's is just fantastic for everything that they do for so many people. And this is one way to keep me going a little longer. Except the uphill.
Keep us active.
For 38 years, the Heart and Soul has been about building connections. Runners find inspiration in many different ways. And Melinda, I understand you found one woman who is running for something very close to her heart.
Steves, I spoke with one participant who tells me she doesn't run fast, but she uses her whole heart and soul as she honors the man who inspired her to start.
I kind of started running because of my dad. my dad had cancer and I was taking care of him, and I got home from the race and I gave Dad the t-shirt for Father's Day and said, "Here, Dad, I dedicated my run to you." And after he passed away shortly later, it was a way I remembered him. Now the Heart and Soul is special to me because my sister is coming down from Absarki and she's bringing her her 13-year-old son and my 20-year-old niece, and they're running the Heart and Soul with us. So it's still kind of a family race to me.
And we're thankful for participants like Heather opening up to us about why we run in the Heart and Soul. We're going to head over to Tracy now, where we've got volunteers making sure our runners stay healthy. Tracy?
Hi Melinda. No one ever plans to come to a race and get hurt, but that's what races like this one are prepared for. Anywhere from cramps to dehydration to more serious problems. That's where this medical tent right behind me comes into play. For an event like the Heart and Soul Run, hours and months go into putting a medical plan together. Dr. Ben Phipps of Ortho Montana says he wants to be prepared for everything.
The worst thing is to have a casualty of some sort that you're not ready to respond for and have to try to come up with a way to make it work out.
Dr. Phipps says they approach the run especially with the idea in mind there will be several thousand runners coming to one location, running a certain distance, and that anything could happen from bumps and bruises to cardiovascular issues.
That's really how we start and kind of work our way from the top down to make sure we have everything covered in detail as we prepared, not just from a personnel standpoint, but also the equipment necessary and locations, high probability areas of having problems.
Dr. Phipps says, looking at the planned race route, they've determined where they can reach and be available to the majority of the runners with healthcare personnel, athletic trainers, and physicians. He says luckily in the past, the run hasn't seen any major issues.
Just another example of how volunteers impact races like the Heart and Soul. When we come back, race results and interviews with both the 5K and 10K winners.
The Heart and Soul Run on SWX is brought to you by St. Vincent Healthcare, McFinney's Convenience Stores, and Rustic Mountain Furnishings.
We are here with the winner of the 5K race today, Paul Zovic-Siemens from Denver, Colorado by way of Laurel, Montana. And a couple of questions. First of all, that was some kind of finish.
That was a great finish. You know, I was telling Levi when he finished that he was light on his feet because I didn't even hear him coming. And next thing I know, I feel him on my back and I had to go give it all I had. But he had a nice finish, strong.
We are now joined by the winner of the 5K, Tiana Vladik, and runners in Billings certainly know her story out of Billings Senior. She'll be a junior. And Tiana, how about the weather conditions for today's race? Nice and cool. Perfect day, right?
Perfect, yeah, it was a really good day.
Talk about this course, how it's different from other events that you run and what makes this unique. Do you enjoy doing this one?
Yeah, I really like this one. I like the parking garage going up. I think that's a little different and we don't usually do that in cross-country season, so it's always fun.
All right, now with the results of the 10K race, let's send it over to Jake Jones.
I'm with Makiko here, winner of the ladies 10K. Now, Makiko, go ahead and tell me just how did your race go? You came bucking it through.
Everything went all right, and great. This race is like super organized well, and volunteer people was like leading me all the whole way, trying to make sure that I was on the right way, and yeah. And all the people are like cheering me on, and that makes me try harder and makes me run faster. So yeah, so
awesome. Well, congratulations on your race. And earlier we got a chance to talk to the men's race winner, Tyus Mendoza, and here's what he had to say about his race. And what does it mean to you to win the Heart and Soul 10K?
It actually means a lot. Like, I didn't think I was actually going to win. It's actually really hot and I wasn't expecting a lot. I just wanted to run and see where I was at for my fitness in the summer. So.
Thanks, Jake. Here's a look at the leaderboard. Top finisher for the men and women in both races. Congratulations to today's winners. Well, as we found out, this is much more than just who wins the race, right, Melinda?
Yeah, so many reasons why people run and benefits being a part of the Heart and Soul.
It's about making smart choices and living a healthy lifestyle.
And the runners today, as soon as they got done and got themselves a popsicle, they and their families got to learn all about having a healthy lifestyle at the Montana Healthy Life Festival.
And what more could you ask for as far as beautiful weather? We're looking at blue skies, just a slight breeze. Overall, a great day.
Thanks, guys. So for Jake Jones, Tracy Smith, Melinda Lee, I'm Chris Byers saying so long from Dealer Park. We'll see you next year.